Good afternoon. My name is Pastor Mark Manning, and I am bringing you this devotion from Glenwood Lutheran Church as we look forward this weekend to Reformation Sunday. Reformation Sunday is that Sunday that falls before the 31st of the month of October. And so I want to talk just a little bit about Reformation Day, which is observed on October 31st. And because we don't have special services that day, we observe and this holiday then on this coming Sunday in October. Now, one of the things that I want to tell you about is this idea. People say, "Well, what is Reformation Sunday about?" And often we just hear that, Martin Luther had some beefs with the Catholic Church's way that they were doing things, raising money. Essentially, he had this list of things. It wasn't just one thing, but it was many things that he was not very happy with. And what he did is he went and decided, because this is the thing that you do, he took and he nailed this sheet with this list of all these things on the church door at the Wittenberg Church, and then it just took off from there. These people read these things, and then they were reprinted, and it spurred this Reformation, which just changed the Western world. And there's a certain amount of truth to that. But there's also a certain amount that we are guessing at and are not entirely certain about. We are certain that Luther had issues with the Catholic Church, particularly the way that money was being raised to build a cathedral in Rome. Various people, and one in particular by the name of Johannes Tetzel was going through Germany, and he was selling something called an indulgence, which was a piece of paper with and it was with the authority of the Pope that said that if you buy this piece of paper with your money, it would assure you or whomever you assigned it to, whoever would have less time to spend less time in purgatory, waiting to have their sins removed and being made pure enough to be in heaven. And he just felt this was such a gross abuse of the idea of what Christ had done, and the Pope couldn't sell these things. The Pope couldn't assign a dollar value to them and give them. And well, much of that's true. There's some that's not entirely true. One of the, or it was not necessarily understood. We take the day October 31st as All Hallows Eve, the night before the high festival of All Saints' Day, and we just sort of assume that he wanted it out there because it was the day before this huge church festival. We're not entirely certain about that. Melanchthon says this is the case. It was posted on the Wittenberg church door on October 31st. But he doesn't say that it happened in 1517. He doesn't say anything to that fact, and he's the only one who says it. He doesn't say it until 1546, years and years and years later. Although it is common for disputations to be posted on a church door. But it's not something that's ever really brought up during the early part of the Reformation or anything like that. We do know, however, that on October 31st, 1517, Luther sent a copy of this document. It wasn't called 95 Thesis. It was called The Disputation of Martin Luther on the Power and Efficacy of Indulgences. He had this sent on that date to the Albrecht, who was the Archbishop of Mainz and Magdeburg, as a scholarly endeavor to talk about and to argue, as would be the case. And this is long before he and Melanchthon kind of hook up, and Melanchthon starts talking about these sorts of things. So it's very interesting. Again, that the name of it is not, in fact, the 95 Thesis. This is something which is assigned to it later because there are 95 points of disputation. And it's not necessarily put out so that everybody could see it. We're not really certain about that. We don't know for sure, at least from contemporary scholars, that it was nailed to the door. But we do know, and we do have records that well, mailed or sent, as the case may be, to the Albrecht, the Archbishop of Mainz and Magdeburg, on October 31st. This disputation of Martin Luther on the power and efficacy of indulgences, which we call the 95 Thesis. Well, God bless you as we get ready for this Reformation Sunday.